Welcome, friends, to this short meeting, one-day fair, one-day event in Bangalore. I'm very happy to be here. I'm sorry that because of the general strike here, not many of my friends could join me today, but I'm very happy so many of you could make it. And I'll assure you that those who could not see me today, if they happen to come during the day, even later in the day, I'd be very happy to see them later in the evening. The purpose of my visit here is to share with you the great joy and bliss we can get while we are still living in this human body, in this life, just by finding a perfect living master. A perfect living master is a human being just like us. He's born like us, has karma like us, dies like us. He's no different than us. As a human being, he's born and dies exactly like us, and he lives his life exactly like us. The only difference is that he has an awareness of who he is inside, which is his soul or Atma, what is his mind, how the mind works, what is the role of the Atma and what is the role of the mind when working in a human body. And he also knows which is our true home, where there is no Atma and no mind and no soul, all is all just one. There's one totality of consciousness from which the whole thing is played out. In fact, it is not played out outside, it is played out within that totality of consciousness. We are all part of that. We have never left it. People ask me, you tell us so much about a spiritual journey to go back to your true home. How far is our true home? The answer is startling, because the truth is we never left our true home. We only left the awareness of our true home. We only forgot where we are. And the whole process of the spiritual path is to recall and remember where we belong. It's a sort of awakening from step to step, from one stage to another. As we awaken ourselves, we ultimately discover that we never left our true home, we only lost the awareness of it. Therefore, the spiritual path is not a journey. We don't go anywhere. We just awaken ourselves to our true nature and who we truly are. It's a game we are playing within ourselves. But we have gone so far in playing this game that we have now started taking the different roles and different costumes we wore for different parts of the play. We have started taking those costumes as our real selves. We have started to identify ourselves with the different costumes we are wearing. First costume we wore, when we were only one, totality of consciousness, was a costume that we are many. This individuation of consciousness created what we today call soul. A soul is nothing more than a point of view, a separate point of view of totality of consciousness, never left it. Supposing you can see something from different angles, it does not mean you are different beings, but you will see different things. If I want to look at these flowers from this side, they look different. I go on the top, they look different. I go different angles, they look different. Totality of consciousness, by being able to look at creation from different points of view, began to individuate those points of view, and those are called souls. Souls are not separated from the totality. But since souls could look at things differently, it became a great creative experience to create something and experience it from so many different points of view. So the one and the many are all part of the same one. The many are created to have a varied experience of the one. Now, once that is done, now you can add on more things to that many and more things to the soul to have a variety of experiences of different kinds. The first big costume that we put on in order to have a very different experience was called the causal body over the soul, which causal body we also called the mind. The thinking mind is our first body. We covered ourselves with the mind. The soul stayed in the center, and around it we built a new machine and accessory, something like a computer, a very wonderful, remarkable computer that we call the human mind. It had great capabilities. It could think, it could reason, it could rationalize, it could make sense, it could also absorb whatever was being created at one go. And far more than that, it created a new way of experiencing creation, and that was through the medium of time and space. So the mind as a costume, the mind as a causal body was a very creative thing that our consciousness, by giving power to it, by making it alive, was able to work on it and create space and time and create events and place those events in space and on time and place all of them at once. And then we could move on that time-space continuum that we created and have events. Not only that, the mind did another wonderful thing. It was great. It created events connected with each other by a principle called cause and effect. Something that happened as an event could be traced back to a cause, which made great joy and pleasure for the mind to think everything has an explanation, everything has a cause, so that we could examine any event of life and study what is its cause. Of course, it also turned out to be a big trap, because the cause and effect also led to the effect becoming a cause for something else. And so a cycle ensued. A cycle started by which the cause and effect became a continuous thing, the effect again becoming a cause. Not only that, the mind took power from the soul, became alive, and began to make decisions, and began to decide which event to pick up or not to pick up, which timeline to pick up or not to pick up, so that a variety of experiences were created. But so far it was pretty good. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed having a new type of equipment with us by which we could have the same experience we were having in a single moment of zero time and eternity, which we could have now over many years and billions of years and trillions of years. We also could now, instead of having experience in zero space, expand ourselves to billions of miles stretched in space outside. We could create billions of galaxies, trillions of spaces outside, and many universes. That enlarged the scope of our experience of consciousness. And the mind did all these things. The only trap that came up was because of the law of cause and effect, which we today call the law of karma. That means whatever you do has a consequence. That means it becomes a cause. And of course, if there's a cause, there has to be an effect. And if there's an effect, it can be good or bad. So that was arranged in a very simple way. A small part of the mind, the thinking mind, was separated from it, placed alongside with it, and we call it conscience. Now, conscience is the part of the mind that speaks to us and says, this is good, this is bad. It differentiates. It creates a moral code. Now, what is the input that makes it good or bad? It's nothing innate in it. There's nothing in it. We make it up by exposure to our experience. That means when we are here in the physical body, in the physical world, we are living in a physical society. Physical laws are applicable here. We put them all together, and our conscience keeps on adapting to what is taught by society to be good or bad. And our conscience adopts it. And when the conscience says this is good, and we do it, we get rewarded. And when the conscience says this is bad, don't do it, but we do it anyway, then we are punished. A simple law of reward and punishment came out of this principle of cause and effect. And the most wonderful thing is that how do we distinguish between cause and effect? How do we distinguish whether we are paying off a karma because of a previous action, or are we creating a new one? Because karma can be an event. Is it being created by us now, or is it being created because of some previous action? What comes as previous actions and creates our destiny in this life, we call the pralabdha karma or our destiny. The pralabdha is only our destiny created by past actions of ours, of which the effects are taking place now. And they can be good or bad. We did good things, we are being rewarded. We can become rich, we can become healthy, we have good friends, we have good company, we are on top of the world. We do bad things and we are in hell, and we create a hell even on physical life. And so it all depends on what our conscience dictated and the actions we took in the past that is creating our destiny or pralabdha for this life. Where we are born, where we will die, who we will meet, who will be the acquaintances, what accidents will happen, is all determined by pralabdha, by destiny of past actions. Therefore, when we are born, we carry with us a pattern of our life already. It includes all the people we will meet. It includes all the jobs we will do. It includes all ups and downs that will take place. It includes all the diseases we will have, all the illnesses we will have. It contains all the treatments we will get. It is an all-inclusive, complete life. The only portion are when there are some gaps left. About 80% of our life is predetermined completely. And we don't feel we have any choice. But there are some gaps left in which the mind then begins to function as a decision maker, a choice maker. Then the mind says, should I do this or not do this? That act of a human being is called deliberation, and a deliberate act. That means it takes into account more than one choice and says, should I choose this or that? Should I choose going left or should I choose going right? This choice making determines the result or consequence for the next life, or sometimes for the same life. That means only when we deliberate and make a choice do we create a new karma. New karma is not being created all the time. We hit somebody by accident, it's a payoff of an old karma. We had no intention, we had no deliberation about it. There's so many things we do in life which we never have a chance to decide. That is all from old karma and is being paid off here under the law of karma, law of cause and effect. But when we deliberate and have a clear choice, a clear set of options to decide, and then decide, that creates a new karma. The new karma has to be paid off in a future life or later on in the same life. This is how this principle is working. But the mind being so active, the mind being a very active accessory given to us, employs our consciousness, employs our life force to think so rapidly and make so many intentions that it is not even necessary to complete the action of an intention in our head before we create a karma. If karma is being created in the mind by choosing an option, A or B, whether you act upon A or B or not, the choosing is taking place in the head. Therefore, one should remember, karma is not created by action. Karma is created by intention to act, even if you don't act. That is why we are creating intentions all the time. Therefore, we are creating so much karma that it cannot possibly be accommodated in one future lifetime. So what happens to all the karma that is being accumulated and cannot even be carried on in a pralabdha of the next life? That goes into a reservoir also held in our mind. That reservoir we call the sinchit karma, the reserve karma. There is always so much reserve karma from past intentions that we carry, that supposing we decide to have a life of no karma, which means we go, what they used to call, go with the flow. We go and drift along, whatever happens, we don't decide. Let circumstances decide, let other people decide. We don't decide anything, we lead a karma-free life. We live in God's will, we live in the will of the universe, like people use different expressions to go with the flow. Supposing we do that, we still have so much reserve karma on our minds, many lifetimes can be created out of that alone. Not only that, in order to make a life a good consecutive series of events, we pick up different elements from so many different lives anyway. It's not from the one life that you create another life. You pick up elements from so many different lives. And that is why the law of karma operates in such a way that you always have enough karma to create lives, and this becomes a trap for us. And this is exactly where we are now. We are in the trap of continuous reincarnation, continuous going from one life to another, continuous birth, and we can't get out of it. And the reason that we have accepted our physical body to be ourself makes it so much worse. Because then we think the body is the only reality. And what we can experience through the body is the only reality outside. And therefore we live in a physical world, continuously engaged in creating karma, paying off karma, and we are born and we die in that process, and there is no chance for getting out of this big, subtle prison house. It's a very subtle one because we can't see it. We don't know this is a prison house, that we are caught by being born again and again because of our own actions and intentions. So that is why these human beings who have an awareness that they are not the body, that none of us is our body, just a costume we are wearing, nor are our sense perceptions our true nature. Soul does not see, soul does not do any of the perception that we ascribe to our body or to our eyes, to our ears. Soul does not do any of these things. The mind does not do any of these things either. That's another costume we are wearing, which creates sense perceptions. We sometimes refer to that as the sensory body or astral body. We call it astral body or suksham sharir because that astral body creates a new sky for us when we withdraw our attention and try to look at it. And that is why that body contains all the sense perceptions. And we are continuously experiencing perception of created universes outside through that body which is embedded inside this body. Both bodies are all overlapping each other. This physical body is containing another body that holds sense perceptions. Supposing this body dies, that one does not die. That is a much longer life. In terms of physical time, an astral body of each one of us is approximately from 1,000 to 3,000 years of physical time, which means we can have several physical bodies and have several different forms of life here during one birth and death of an astral body. So therefore, the sense perceptions are not because of this physical body, they are because of something embedded in us. If that were not so, how could you see something without these eyes when you see something in a dream? Which eyes are you using when you are dreaming? You see visual things. What eyes are you using when you imagine something in your head? You imagine something, you can see it. These are not the eyes involved in it at all. But there is something else inside which has the capacity to see. There is something in us which has the capacity to hear. There is something else in us which has the capacity to smell, taste, and do all the sense perceptions without the use of this body. If we are able to separate this body from our inner self, we'll find the sense perceptions work. Not only they work independently, they work much better. That because of the physical body, we are not seeing properly, that we are not seeing enough. That if this physical body was not covering our inner eyes, we would see much better. And of course, when we die, it all opens up. But nobody can then die and come back and say, you know, you're all mistaken. You don't see with these eyes. There are other eyes there. Because a person is dead, he may be trying to tell us something, maybe walking around here and telling us something we can neither see nor hear. But there's another method to check it out. And that is called dying while living. You can experience the same thing you will experience when you physically die without dying. How can you have an experience of death, exactly identical experience of death, which will happen when the body dies, and everybody dies. How can you experience that which you will experience only when you die? You can do it by pretending to die, by simulating death. And if you notice how people die, the death does not take place instantly and you go away somewhere. Death is a withdrawal of life force. Death is a withdrawal of our attention from the limbs of our body. And if you see a person dying slowly, if you have seen terminal cases where they die slowly, the hands and feet of a person die first. The person becomes unaware where his hands and feet are. Then the legs and the arms die. Then the torso starts and the body from the bottom starts dying up. Person is still speaking to us. He's thinking he's floating in the sky because he lost the lower part of consciousness or awareness. Then he feels that his arms and legs are somewhere else. That ultimately, when he's coming up here, he can't speak anymore in the throat. And he comes to the head, he dies. That's how death takes place. And ultimately, it's the death of the brain that causes the death of the body. And this is a progressive thing. How about doing the same thing through a process called meditation? That means by meditation, we withdraw our attention. Nothing else. The attention that is making us aware of what we have. After all, when you look around the world, how do you know something is there? Only by paying attention to it. If we don't pay attention to something, it's non-existent for us. The whole world has come into being because of our scattered attention. Our body has also come into being because of our attention flowing from the head has gone throughout the body into the limbs. Now, if you try to put your attention in the area where the brain dies last, and even within the brain, there's a certain section that dies last. If you go to the center of the brain, where the pituitary body, the pineal gland, hang along with the medulla oblongata, just in the very center of the head, between the ears, behind the eyes, in the center. If you go to that point, that dies last. Now supposing you pick up that point and say, I am going to withdraw my attention to that point and think of nothing else but that. What will happen? Gradually you will not know what is outside. Gradually you will not know if you have got hands and feet. You will not know if you have got arms and legs. They become numb and then you become unaware of them. Eventually, by this practice, you become unaware of the whole body. And yet the body is alive. You are playing only with attention. The body is functioning autonomously. We don't tell the heart to beat and then it beats. We don't tell all the nervous system to function and then they function. This is an autonomous system of life. The body lives autonomously and continues to live, and all vital signs remain intact when you withdraw your attention to your head, behind the eyes. That area behind the eyes, from where attention flows out, has sometimes been referred to as the third eye, as the single eye, as the center of consciousness, as the nukta, as the seat of a wakeful consciousness. It has been given different names. It doesn't matter what the name is. The issue is that you have a point in your head. If you think of that and nothing else, if you put your attention on that and nothing else, you will slowly become unaware of the body. And when you become unaware of the body, you'll still be able to see more clearly than you are seeing now. You'll be able to see a sky. You'll be able to see so many things. You'll see the whole of this world and another world on top of it. This is not an experience that only some rare people have had. Anybody can have. All of you are qualified. So long as you are a human being with the capacity to make a decision to do that, which you have, which we call free will. And fortunately, we all have free will. We make choices. If you can make this choice, that I want to see what happens if my attention is fully withdrawn to behind the eyes, what will happen? You open up another world of yours. You open up another self of yours, a self that has all the sense perceptions intact and much sharper than they are in the physical body. Then you realize it is those sense perceptions that were working even when you were in the physical body. It were those eyes that were looking out through these eyes, to those ears that were looking, hearing from these ears, and so on. So you will find that the inner body, which we call the astral body, is actually embedded inside this, and is another cover upon our consciousness or our soul. You can go further than that through this practice, which I call meditation. What is meditation? You meditate upon things all the time. You are in meditation all the time. You are reading a book, you're meditating upon the book. You're thinking of your friends, you're meditating upon your friends. Meditating is to put your attention on those things. So when you put your attention on your own self, which is the attention emanating from within your head, you are meditating on the self. If you meditate on the self, you're able to have this experience of withdrawal of attention from the rest of your body and opening up another self within you. This one step is the most important. Once you know that, you can go further than that by following the same process of going deeper and deeper into your own self. If you can discover who the self is, if you can discover what ultimately the self is that is creating experiences of the bodies, including the sensory body and this body, and the causal body or the mind, if you can know what is the self that is creating these bodies around itself and then functioning in these different universes and different levels of reality and different levels of consciousness, you got the answer to the essence of the self. Then you can also discover if the self was an independent unit or was a part of totality and therefore has always been part of totality. We have given different names to these entities, different levels, and we think we are all different. There is no difference at all. There is no difference in the soul of a human being, no matter what religion you belong to, no matter what nationality you belong to, no matter what gender you belong to, no matter what age you belong to. The soul has no such thing. The soul is uniformly the same in all of us. And whoever has discovered the self has discovered the same self, no matter which route you have taken, no matter how you have gone about it, no matter what belief system you have. It doesn't matter at all. That is why these people who have that highest awareness, which they carry with them, and we call them perfect living masters, where you can come in contact with them, it's a life-changing experience, because they know you inside out better than we know ourselves, because we are part of them. They have an awareness. They also know that we are seeking something. If they can't know we are seeking something, then they are no good for us. But if they can know what we are seeking inside, and they appear in our life at the right time, then they are serving a purpose, the purpose being to take us to the same level of awareness that they have. This indeed is their only mandate. These people who are just like us, and any one of us can be that. It's not that they are specially chosen people. Any one of us with that awareness becomes equal to that. So therefore, whoever has the awareness, not only of the inner self, with the sense perceptions are, not only of the most inner self, where the mind creates space and time and puts all these things into karma, but beyond that, into knowing that the self is the soul, is the Atma, is that which belongs only to consciousness with no cover upon itself. That's the life force that is making everything alive, including the mind and the senses and the body. That is making these three covers upon the soul alive. When you can discover that soul, then you can say, I am self-realized. I have realized who I am. First time you can claim that you know it. There is another trouble about this, and that is when you want to withdraw your attention from the physical world and open up the other one, you forget this outer one. What happens to your total awareness becomes only limited to what you have now opened up. When you close that, then you are open only to this one. When you go to sleep at night, you have a dream, you close this one also. Only the dream becomes real for you, you don't even know where you are sleeping. Of course, there is a connection between the dream and the physical body, Like there's a connection between the physical body and the sensory body. There's a connection between the sensory body and the astral, higher body, causal body, and a connection with the soul and connection with our totality at all times. For example, when you are sleeping and having a dream, you toss around in the bed, and if you examine what toss around is going on, is connected with what is happening in the dream. The eyes move, the eyelids move when you are dreaming, and they will move in a direction according to what you are watching in the dream. This is called rapid eye movement. I went to the United States in the 60s to study there, and they used to have a lot of experiments on sleeps and dreams in those days. So I joined one of their institutions to study what is dream, how do we dream. And there they used to put electrodes and cameras on you to see if you are dreaming, what happens to the physical body. And they noticed that every time somebody sleeps and has a dream, the eyelids start moving. Then they would wake up a person when they saw that the eyelids were moving, person was having a dream, they would ask, what are you dreaming? And every person would speak up what we are dreaming. Supposing the eyelids are moving up and down, and you wake up that person, he will say, oh, I was watching a nice waterfall. The water was falling from above to below. And when the eyelids are moving side to side, you wake up the person, what did you see? I was watching a tennis match. It was going on like this. So what the sequence was going on in the dream was being reflected in the movement of physical eyes. But the person watching the tennis match was not aware where his physical body was. The one who was looking at the waterfall, what body was that person using? It was not the body with the eyelids that was moving, using another body. Every time we have a different level of conscious experience, a different level of, one might say, different levels of realities. I call them levels of realities because we make dream real while we are dreaming. We make it so real that even if we know, and we many times have dreams, I am sure many of you have had dreams when you knew it was a dream. Then what do we do when we know it's a dream? We tell everybody there, look, we know it's a dream. When you wake up, you don't tell anybody. That means although we are speaking the truth, we know it's a dream. But if it was known to us, if knowledge was real, knowledge was there, we know there's nobody else there. But we made them up in the dream. And we take them as real even when expressing a truth. It's a dream, and you wake up and find you didn't really know, although you said the truth. The same state exists here too. That we speak the truth without knowing that there is something. When we wake up, we won't have anybody to tell. That we are all created as part of a dream-like sequence. That we are all the same, arising from the same consciousness, just a created experience. So that is why at one time we have only one reality. That's a good thing and a problem at the same time. At this time, this is a reality for us. We go to dream, that becomes reality. We go to a higher level of consciousness, that becomes reality, everything has become dreamlike. We go to a still higher level of consciousness, to our causal mind, we find the mind created, the astral plane, the sensory systems, and the physical world, and that alone is real, everything else is unreal. We go and find our Atma, our soul, say the soul alone created everything, they were all made up, nothing was real. That's the only reality. We go to our totality, then what happens? A different thing happens in totality. Because in totality, we see the whole thing was constructed at the same time. All levels were created at the same time. Therefore, the experience at different levels of consciousness is very different from the experience at totality. At totality, you know everything. All are real and all are unreal at the same time. At any other stage, you know only one reality. So when you see a person we call a perfect living master, his perfection is that he's gone beyond the imperfection of the mind and has a perfect awareness of totality. Totality includes this experience, includes dream experiences, includes higher experiences of all levels of consciousness. Looks like an ordinary person sitting amongst us. And such a person comes up and he is leading a life like us. His awareness is that he is continuously aware of all the levels that have been created. And therefore, when he speaks to us, he can speak about any level. Not only can he speak about any level, he is actually functioning at every level and functioning in different bodies at every level. And the associations with like-minded souls of the people with whom he is interacting is all taking place at the same time. And also he finds out that there is no time while he is living in time with us. The awareness of our reality, of our true reality, is so deep that if you carry it with you, you can't imagine what a great experience it is to be in a human body with all the life laid out exactly as it is. And you're living it like you're on a ride. When you go on an amusement park and take a ride, you know you can't get out of the big Ferris wheel. It'll take you round. You don't make decisions when it'll move, when it'll stop, but you just have a ride. If you have totality of consciousness, all these are rides, predetermined rides. You determine them, nobody else. So when somebody says, is everything predetermined? Big question is being asked from me all the time. Is our life totally predetermined? If it is predetermined, why are we punished for bad karma? If it is predetermined, why are you asking us to meditate? Why are you asking us to do things? It's already done. It's already predetermined. This question of predetermination and free will is a very, very important question and frequently arises in our mind. So I would like to explain to you how it works so that you understand what is predetermined and what is not. When we are at one level of consciousness, the experience of predetermination changes. Let us start from the physical plane where we are now. If somebody says that everything is predetermined, it is incorrect. You tell me what is predetermined, I will change it right there. You will say, it's predetermined, you will go left, I will right now go left, go the other way and prove you wrong. How can you say everything is predetermined here? If it were predetermined, you would have no free will at all. That is why, let's take this level, in the physical level, it is totally free will. A friend of mine studying at Harvard University once got a great inspiration and knowledge. He said, we have no free will. And his argument was theological, based on his belief in God. He called me early morning. He said, I have found out we have no free will. I said, what makes you say that? He said, simple. My definition of God, and he says, this is a definition in all religions. All belief systems who believe in God have the same definition, that God is omnipresent, omnipotent. That means present everywhere. He is all-powerful and omniscient, knows everything. If I have free will, I am going to make a decision, does God know? If God knows what I am going to decide, then how can I say I have free will? If He knows before I have decided what I am going to decide, how is my will free? Then God's will is free. He knows what I am going to decide. But I have no real free will. I think I have because I don't know God. I am not with God. If I was with God and God could say, I can tell you, but not only God can tell. I'll tell you very interesting experience of my own. I had gone for an interview for the Navy many years ago when I was young in Lucknow, in the Uttar Pradesh. As I came out of the interview, a gentleman wearing a turban, a Sikh gentleman, accosted me and he said, do you have a piece of paper? And I had, of course, a bundle of papers with me. He said, give me a piece of paper. I gave him. He looked into my eyes and began to write on it. And then he folded the paper. Then he double folded the paper and put it in my hand. He said, hold this paper. Do you have more paper? I said, yes. Now take out the paper and write a number between 1 and 10. And I said, this man is trying to fool me. He thinks I will write 5. That is what we used to do as children. Play game. Tell me number between 1 and 10. 5. Tell between 1 and 4. 2, 3. I mean the number in the middle occurs immediately. I said, he is trying to play a game with me. I am going to call off his bluff. So I wrote 3. He said, write the name of a flower. I said, he's expecting me to write the most common flower, rose, gulab, and I won't write it. Let me think of a flower. They may not have heard of an Uttar Pradesh in Lucknow. They remembered my flower from Punjab. I said, chameli. So I wrote in English, Chameli. He said, write your date of birth. I wrote 1926. He looked at it. That is not your date of birth. This is your year of birth. Write date of birth. So after that year, I wrote my date 26 November. He said, now open the paper I gave you. I opened the paper and it said 3, Chameli, 1926, and the date of birth after the year. Exactly like I wrote. It was almost like I had made a copy of it. I was absolutely stunned. Because not only could he read my mind, he could read my mind and not even thought anything. He wrote it 5 minutes earlier. I said, I am amazed how you can do this. He said, shall I tell you something more? Sure, now I am already in shock. You can tell me more. He said, when I said write a number between 1 and 10, you said, I am going to call off this man's bluff. And I will write 3. He knew exactly what I thought. He said, when you said write a flower, he thinks I will write the name of a rose. I'll write a name he has never heard of. He repeated my thinking exactly as I had thought in my head. Then he told me about the date of birth. The point was, he told me exactly word for word what I had thought after he had written it. What does it mean? I said, how can he do this? Because you had written this before you asked me the questions. How can you know the answers when I have not even thought out the answers? I could have given any answers. How could you know which answers I will give? He says, we are a group of people called Bhatras. There are very few Bhatras left. And we were taught by our teachers for many generations how to read people's minds 5 minutes in advance. That means what they will think the next 5 minutes we can record in advance. I said, you mean to say what a person will think in the next 5 minutes is already known to somebody? Known to us, not to God. That man was talking about God maybe knowing theological. Here's a man telling me this thing. That he could tell me beforehand what I will think and how I will decide. So the point is, I was completely sure I made my choices. I exercise my free will, and there's another guy who knows what free will I will use. Is it free will or predetermination? It's both. It's an experience of free will which was predetermined. Even the way I would make a choice was written somewhere that this guy could read. That is why when we are in the physical world, we think we have free will because we actually go through it. But the way we think is already pre-written. So it looks like we are making a free choice, whereas we are making a free choice as recorded earlier. It's a great mystery how it is done. Now I am telling you about that man who said he had discovered on theological grounds. The man who talked to me in Harvard University that he had found it was on the basis of God knowing everything. And if God knows everything, then obviously it is not free will. That you have to think on the lines of what God already knows. You have to come to the same decisions which God already knows. But there is a big complication in that. If God knows everything, you are just following blindly, you are being punished for God's actions. That's terrible to have a law of karma operating here where we are being punished for something God knows and we didn't even know, and we have no choice but to go according to what God knows? That is a very dangerous situation to have a God like that. People sometimes have very shaky faith in God after seeing a lot of misery and terrible things happening, and when people say everything is made by God, they get so upset over it. This is even more upsetting, that the whole thing for which we are being punished and rewarded is not our action at all, but God's action. But anyway, that man said on theological grounds, we cannot have free will. I said, come to my house, come to my apartment, we'll discuss it more. So then I thought to play a little trick on him. So before he came, I took a tray and put on it a cup of coffee, poured a cup of coffee and a cup of tea, and left a third cup empty. When he came, I said, will you have tea, coffee or nothing? I got all three on this tray. And you have no free will, so now you decide. He said, I came to such a great conclusion, you destroyed it all with 3 cups of coffee and tea and empty. I said, no, I'm trying to prove to you that not only do we have free will in the physical world, we cannot even escape from it. A man who says, I have free will, or says, I don't have free will, are making free choice right there. Even to say that requires free will. Every action we do requires free will. Therefore, in the physical world, to say we have no free will makes no sense at all. So long as we are in the physical world, free will is real. It's only when we go beyond that that we can discover what we thought was free was not free. Therefore, so long as we are confined to this reality of a physical world and think it's the only reality, free will is real. And we must go by the laws of free will, the law of karma, law of punishment and reward. If we ascend that, if we go to another level where we can see everything, then we will find we are neither punished nor rewarded. It's the costume that's being punished and rewarded, not us. As we go further up, we find that it is not even a punishment and reward. It's a game that we are watching on a screen. It's not even ourselves. The more you withdraw your attention to a different level of reality, the rest becomes like a dream. Supposing you have a very bad dream at night, a nightmare. It's terrible. You can scream in the dream. You can suffer pain. You wake up. What do you say? Thank God it was a dream. That's exactly what happens when we awaken to higher consciousness. We say, thank God it was a dream. It was never real. But while we are here, it's a reality. So it all depends on what is our level of reality. Now supposing we are here in the physical world and having a problem and we can't decide. And whatever we decide is a bad decision. We go to a guru or a master or somebody who has some spiritual powers. Please help us. Please help us. We have bad karma going on. Please help us. He said, all right. Here is some babooti or here is some special medicine and we cut your karma. And suddenly you feel better. You say, he changed our destiny. Even destiny, pre-written destiny, he just changed it by divine intervention. So there may be free will or no free will or predetermination. A holy person can come and with divine intervention and change it. And then by meditation you go to the next stage and look up what was the original thing that was written and what did he change. You will find even his divine intervention was also written there. They say, we thought he changed the destiny. And what happened? Then we ask him at that level, you did not change our destiny. We want you to change completely here. It's written previously. And he, through his extraordinary powers at the same level where we are at a higher level of consciousness, changes our destiny. He said, at least this is a change. This is a real change of our destiny. We go one step higher, even the real change has been written there earlier. Ultimately, where do we go? Ultimately, we go to totality of consciousness where we find we wrote all our destinies. We were the author of everything, including all the changes we made. And therefore, even when we are the physical body here, if we are doing anything, the ultimate author was ourselves, but not in the physical form. but in the form of our own totality. So this principle of predetermination and the principle of free will cannot be understood if we try to apply something of another level of consciousness to this level. Each level holds its own reality of free will. How much you have, how much can be changed, it changes every time you rise to a higher level. And ultimately you find that yes, there was no free will because you wrote it. The whole script is yours, and how can you say somebody changed it? All the changes that are being made are also part of your own design of totality of consciousness. And that is where you get the final answer, that this is just an experience of change of levels of consciousness. And that is why it's such a beautiful experience. The spiritual experience of rising from one level of awareness to another has its own great joy and great beauty in it, because you can see so many different changes like that. We thought this was real, like a dream state. We can have such fantastic dreams, and we wake up, and that becomes just a dream, just an experience. Like this, everything that is created is just an experience. It's just an experience of totality of consciousness that's being generated into the many, and the many are having these experiences. So when people say, you say we are creating this universe, what about those people? Are they also creating the universe? I say, which people? Go back to the dream example. In dream you see 100 people. Is one dreaming or all of them are dreaming? When you have a dream and you see 20 people there, how many are dreaming? 1 or 20? Only one is dreaming. 20 are part of the dream. The same thing is here. Only one is experiencing. All others are part of the experience. And therefore they become so many. You go higher up, they're even more. And ultimately you find only one dreamer exists and creates what looks like all of us having our own lives. It's an amazing way the single totality of consciousness can create an experience of the many in such wonderful ways. That's how it's happening, and the truth can be found out by you through the process of withdrawing your attention to your own self, and from there to go to totality of consciousness. A simple process available to human beings, all human beings, by the process of withdrawing attention from whatever they are experiencing, withdrawing attention to their own self. Truth can be found, ultimate truth can be found by this simple process. Continuously withdraw your attention from what you are experiencing to the experiencer, to the self that is experiencing inside you. The deeper you go, the more reality you will find. Ultimately, you will find the entire truth. This is meditation. Meditation is to meditate on the self, to withdraw your attention to yourself. Now, I must mention that we have never been taught in our lives how to withdraw attention. Right from childhood, from birth, newborn babies is there, we put rattles and we try to talk to it, and the baby's attention is drawn out. Baby's attention is focused on this or that. All our life we are used to focusing attention on things. Focusing attention means going away from yourself, going away from where attention starts. Attention starts from inside, and we are constantly taking it outside into different experiences, different people, different objects, different events of life. All the time we are putting our attention out, which we call focusing attention. When some realized soul, some enlightened person comes and says, withdraw attention, we still try to focus. He says, close your eyes and withdraw attention to your own self, and we try to focus on ourselves inside. Where are we? We try to focus on it. We are so used to focusing attention. And do you realize every time we try to focus attention, we are moving away from the self, no matter how close you are within the head or outside. We have been meditating, people have been meditating for years, closing their eyes, and if they want to focus attention, they make a little picture of themselves, sitting in front of them in the darkness that you see by closing the eyes, and say, there I am focusing my attention, little realizing that's not you. The one looking at the image is you. That's behind it always. We don't withdraw attention. It's a different experience to withdraw attention to yourself. So withdrawal of attention is the real meditation to the self that takes you to the higher levels of consciousness. People get stuck here and make it into a ritual. Meditation just becomes a ritual. I have to close my eyes, repeat words, and I will do this for so many hours, and I've done my chore. I am a meditator. I am a spiritual person. I am going on a spiritual journey. The person gets up, gets angry with everybody around, feels how to make more money that day, how to be greedy. Everything remains the same. No change. And we are saying we are meditating every day. We are doing puja part, we are doing worship, we are doing these things, all to no avail in changing anything real, not enlightening us to our reality. To find reality, you have to go to your own self, not around you. Therefore, to withdraw your attention to yourself, we need a slightly different technique than we have been using of focusing attention. Focusing attention takes you away. Withdrawing attention means putting attention on the self. If you believe that you are the body, you cannot focus attention on yourself. So long as you believe the body is you, no matter whether your eyes are closed or open, so long as you believe this body is you, you cannot focus attention on yourself. The moment you say, I am not the physical body, I am somebody inside it, then the question is, where am I? Then that's the first step. Then you can begin to understand where you can withdraw your attention. So the very first step in good meditation is not to treat your body as yourself, but to recognize it as a cover. And an easy way to do it is to think that the body is a mobile home of yours. It's a house which has legs and arms and is mobile, can move in space and time outside. But it is still our house. It has several floors. It has got many floors starting from the bottom. Legs and arms are just attached to it. The torso is the main thing. We sit on the ground or sit on the chair and start from the bottom. And it's got 6 centers of energy. The Goda chakra in the bottom, the Indri chakra and the Hridaya chakra, the heart chakra, Kant chakra and the two lives chakra. These 6 centers of energy, they almost divide this house into 6 floors, 6 levels. If we can feel that this body is a house in which we live, and we are right now when we are awake, sitting somewhere in the 6th floor in our chamber here, and we close our eyes, we are right in the center of the chamber, and we can recall we are in the center of the chamber, not looking at anything, but just being there, it's a good start. That's how we withdraw attention to ourselves. No focusing is involved at all in it. No movement from a way is required. Now we have been gifted with 3 beautiful gifts by the Creator in a physical human body. Energy with which we operate in the world. And different forms of energy that operate in these energy centers. They are amazing. And then the eyes of the physical body, they divide the body into 2 parts. The lower part which contains all the energy. All the energy centers are in the eyes and below. And all the centers of awareness, of higher awareness, of the highest awareness are in the head and above. All fixed in this body. All different areas of the body containing all this. It's the greatest thing that could ever have been made. And in the consciousness of this body, in a living body, we have been given 3 gifts which can be operated through the mind. One is the power of imagination. 2, the power of using attention to go wherever you like. And 3, the power to concentrate your attention wherever you like. If you imagine you are sitting on top of this building, just if you imagine you are on top of the building, put your attention there and concentrate, you can feel you are there. You are not there, but you can feel you are there just by using these 3 processes. And you can use this for any place, including your own self in the middle of the head, where you actually are. You can use imagination that you are sitting in the head, and easier to imagine if you think this body is a house, you are living on the 6th floor, in the center of the room, in the 6th floor, you are there. Imagine, put your attention there and concentrate it. The withdrawal of attention will take place from the rest of the body. That's the secret. The use of imagination to be there, the use of attention to concentrate it there, automatically withdraws your attention from the body and takes you there and opens up your inner body. Otherwise, we are just playing with this physical body, with physical things. If you repeat words, physical words, how can they take you to something non-physical? We think mantras can take you to your true home. Has any mantra ever taken anybody to totality of consciousness? Mantras are physical spoken words. They have a very useful role in meditation. The role being that when you try to imagine you are in the head, your mind takes you outside by thoughts. You start thinking of other things. The words are a replacement for thoughts. That you keep on repeating the words and don't allow the mind to think outside. It helps in putting your attention inside. That's a good use of mantra, good use of simran, good use of repeating words. But to think that repeating words will take us anywhere is a great fallacy. Words should be used, any mantra, the best ones, even the most magical ones, should be used in order to be inside your head at the starting point of your spiritual journey. To discover by becoming unaware of the cover who you really are. Progressively it's the same thing. You continuously become unaware of the covers, different covers, and discover your own soul, your own Atma, and ultimately see that you are part of Paramatma. Same process goes on continuously. And these are the great gifts given to us, that we can have attention move anywhere it likes. We like to put attention anywhere we like. We can put it inside our head and we draw attention there and we awaken to a new reality. Every time we awaken to a new reality, the lower one disappears. Then you go to the top. All realities open up because they're all created from there. And all realities become unreal and real at the same time. The intention was never to create illusions. The intention was to create realities. And we succeeded very wonderfully, beautifully. This whole show is all series of realities, one upon the other, placed upon one upon the other. And we withdraw ourselves to that. Now what is the role of all this exercise? The role of the exercise is to answer all our questions, whether they are divine, whether they are related to God or Creator, or they are scientific, that we want to realize what's the nature of consciousness, want to realize what makes us alive, what's the nature of life. You can get answers to both questions, scientifically and religiously, and with divine knowledge, both together. And no matter what religion you are, you'll get the answers as mentioned in your own religious scriptures. Because they all say the truth is inside. You haven't had a chance to go truly inside. Then you go to the inside of your consciousness. Not only inside of a cover, but inside in consciousness you discover the totality. And that's the whole spiritual path, no matter how you follow it. So I have come to share with you what one can get from a person who is carrying that kind of consciousness with him, which we call a perfect living master. And why am I saying this? Because I had the good fortune to meet this gentleman. The picture is here. He promised something and he delivered his promise. That's why what I am sharing is my personal experience. I am not telling you anything from any books. I don't know much about books. Books say the same thing, I know. Wherever I get a chance to read, somebody says, read, it is written there, I read the same thing. No matter what scriptures you follow, you'll follow the basic thing that you can find the truth within yourself is the same everywhere. It's not different anywhere. We have divided ourselves because of our mind. We divided ourselves to religions, groups, so on, different. There is every religion keeps on dividing into more smaller groups. There is in most of the world, the largest religion is Christianity today. And Christianity believes in one Christ, one God, Christ, Son of God, who was one with God, had the same awareness as God. they all worship the same Christ. If you permit me, I'll read a little story about it. I've got it on my iPhone. About a true Christian. Who is a true Christian? Now I'll tell you about a true Christian. A man was walking on the bridge, and this is his story. He writes it down. He says, I saw a man standing on the edge, about to jump off. I ran to him, caught hold of him. Don't do it, stop. Why are you committing suicide? Why are you ending your life? And he said, why shouldn't I? And I said, well, there is so much to live for. He said, like what? Then I asked him, are you religious or atheist? Religious. I said, me too. Are you Christian or Jewish? Christian. Me too. Are you Episcopalian or Baptist? Baptist. Me too. Wow. Are you Baptist Church of God or Baptist Church of the Lord? That's a division between the two. I am Baptist, Original Baptist Church of God. Me too. Very good. Are you Reformed Baptist Church of God, Reformation of 1879, or Reformed Baptist Church of God, Reformation of 1915? He said, Reformed Baptist Church of God of 1915, to which I said, die you heretic, and I jumped him and pushed him down. When you keep on dividing religion into more denominations, no, I don't believe they're talking of the same God, same Christ, same Christianity, and they hate each other for some division that has taken place at the end. Look at Islam, Shias, Sunnis. They say the same Allahu Akbar, with the same Allah, no two different Allahs. They talk of the same Muhammad, the same Prophet, no two prophets. They kill each other every year. They're still killing each other every day today. In the name of the same religion. There have been crusades in which people have killed each other just because of little difference of opinion. So the point I'm trying to make is we are dividing ourselves, whereas the true spirituality unites us. It leads us to the knowledge that there's only one God, only one Creator. It's only one totality of consciousness, no matter what name you give to it. You just become an atheist and call it a law of nature. All right, I accept it. I don't want to say God, you can say nature. Some people like to call it universe. They don't want to say, I believe in God. The universe is taking care of me. Universe is unkind to me. Universe has created a problem for me. Which universe are they talking about? Which God are they talking about when they talk of God? If you have no contact with your own totality, which God are you talking about? If you can go within and discover who you are calling God, who you have been calling totality of consciousness, who you have been calling the universe, you will find out the answer within yourself. The answer is already inside you. It's not outside. And all these people who have proclaimed God as the Creator have said the same thing. If you want to find God, if you want the kingdom of God inside you, not outside. Now this is a remarkable situation, that we all have the truth and knowledge inside us. We are fighting outside. Why is that? One simple reason. We were given two ways to look at things. The spiritual way, which means the way of the spirit, the way of the soul, and the mental way, the way of the mind. And they were divided into two different parts. The spiritual way was to look at the big picture together. It was synthesis of everything. The mental way was to divide and see what is the truth. The analytical way. You can do analysis of a thing, or you can do synthesis of a thing. You can look at a large painting and see the beauty of it as a whole, or you can look at it every inch by inch and see how it was created. One is a spiritual exercise, the other is a mental exercise. This is natural to us. These are two great gifts to examine any experience around us. So what have we done? We have emphasized our relationship with the mind far more than with our own self, with our spirit. We are using the mind for everything. We are using the mind for God. We are using the mind to find our own self. We are using thinking to find everything. We say the mind can do everything. And therefore, the mind divides all the time. That's the method it has been taught, how to learn. Learn, divide, break up. See, you see a small child, give a toy, first tendency is to break and see how it works. It's a mental exercise. We do it with the world, we do it with the relationship, we do with life itself. We break it apart to see how it works. Our tendency to break things is so strong. We break relationships, we break everything around us because we live with the mind. If we begin to live with the soul, we start joining things together. We join relationships. Now, when you look at the functions that the mind and soul are performing in us, you'll be amazed they're totally different. People in the West began to think mind and soul are the same thing. I am thinking that must be my soul. And sometimes they ask me, is my soul thinking or my mind thinking? I think some good things must be soul thinking and some bad things mind must be thinking. I say all thinking is mind. Mind has been given a thinking instrument to us. Mind is what we use for thinking. And when a person says, I think so, it's not a very correct statement. The correct statement is, I am directing my mind to think like this. I am the owner of the mind. I have a mind. I can use the mind for thinking, and that's what I am doing. I use the mind for thinking. I don't think. I don't need to. Why would I think if I want a machine, a computer to think for me? I use it. So I don't have to think. The soul does not have to think at all. The soul uses the mind to think, uses the mind to speak, uses the mind to communicate. It's been given this gift to use. But if we start believing we are the mind, then we start doing exactly what the mind does, break things, divide all the time. That's what we are doing. We are misidentifying ourselves with the mind. If that were all, it wouldn't be too bad. We are misidentifying ourselves with the mind in a sensory body. That we are the sense perceptions. It's our perception. My eyes. I am seeing. I am not seeing. I have got eyes to see. Why would I see? I can know otherwise. Why would I like to see with the eyes? I see them because I've been given eyes to see. We identify with the equipment we have been given to use. Not only that, we go on to the extent of thinking the physical body is ourselves. That I've got a physical body, physical eyes, therefore these eyes are me that are seeing. So we have created problem for ourselves by misidentifying with the covers upon ourselves as the self. The body is not ourself. It's a machine given to us. Beautiful one, wonderful one. Use it well. People who run away and don't use the machine are not on a spiritual path. Somebody says, I want to run away to the forest to meditate. He is not using the actual equipment. The forest doesn't have any better conditions to meditate. You can do meditation anywhere. The meditation done in the body. And all religions have said that the body is the real temple to meditate in. They all say so. This is a Narnarayani day. That means it's a body which contains the Lord, Creator Himself, in which you can discover the kingdom of God is within you. Every one of them, I studied comparative religion of 11 religions at Harvard University. I was surprised they all say inside. What is the problem? Why are we running out? We're running out into buildings that we have made and call them the place to worship God, as if He is sitting there in those buildings that we have built. When the real thing, real building in which He sits, we are carrying around all over, hating each other, killing each other, abusing each other. And that's the real temple, the real church we are carrying with us. So that is why we are misdirecting our attention to something that is not correct, that is not real. If we were to take this as our reality, the insight, the consciousness, which is making it everything real, which is a life force, and want to discover that, and know that it's operating even in the physical, wakeful state where we are, behind the eyes, at the third eye center. It's the gateway to open all experiences. We would then put ourselves there and explore it. So that is why effective meditation done that way is a divine revelation for you to discover what we have been worshipping as religion. No matter what religion it is, you can discover the origin of religion right by going within yourself. You can discover the origin of experience, period. All experience, no matter what. You can discover the origin of all creation going within yourself. It's all coming from there. That is why we are misdirecting our attention and misidentifying ourselves with these covers and got into this trouble. And this can be reversed. These perfect living masters come into our life. They don't come into our life just to teach us something. There are too many teachers around. All the truth I have spoken must be written in books many times over. You can read all of it. I have said nothing new. They don't come to teach us anything. There are plenty of teachers. They don't come to give us new lessons. They don't come to tell us how to do it. We can even find that out. They come to take us back home. Period. And when do they come? When we want to go back home. It's as simple as that. Whenever we seek in our heart, whenever we seek in our head, in our mind, I am tired of this, of experience, I have had enough of it, now I want to go back home, they will appear in your life, automatically. You have heard, they said, when a chela is ready, a guru appears. Nobody says when a chela is ready, he'll find a guru. They say when a chela is ready, a guru appears. When a disciple is ready, a guru appears. How does he appear? Through coincidence, through chance, through circumstances that are created. And such a person appears in our life, and we wonder why he is coming at this time. Because we are ready at that time, our seeking is there. If you seek, you will find. Seeking is the key. Seeking is the key to find such a person. If somebody says, I'm going to find out who is a perfect living master, you'll never find out. Because it's too ordinary. Those who claim to be perfect living masters obviously are still taking this reality to be more real than it is and are trying to show that they know more. They know less. They know less than us because they are thinking that the whole thing is out here. And whereas we as the seekers know it's beyond this. So they know less than the seekers. Therefore, perfect living masters have never said they are masters. They have said they are servants of people, servants of masters. So that is why they confuse us even more by never revealing who they are. But there is one way of finding them out. Seek in your head. Seek in your heart. I am ready. I am ready. I am done with this experience outside. I want to have experience of my own true home, my own reality, and they will appear in your life by coincidence. This is the beauty of the way they come into our life. And once they come, the mind is still there, performing its good function of doubt and fear. You know the mind has to continuously doubt everything. And also because doubt is there, fear also comes from doubt. Now why is the mind a good thing to doubt? Because if we don't doubt, we'll be following blindly anybody who comes. Doubt is a good thing. Skepticism is a good thing. That you have some doubt, you want certainty, is a good thing. Otherwise, anybody will lead you astray. So, to doubt is good. But then, if the power of a perfect living master is beyond the mind, he should be able to overcome the doubt. What power does a perfect living master use which is beyond the mind? Let us now know what the mind does. Mind reasons, mind thinks, mind puts senses together. What does the soul do? What does the spirit do? What does our spiritual self do? It loves, it has bliss, it appreciates bliss, it appreciates beauty, and it has intuitive knowledge which does not require time or space. When you have a gut feeling, intuition, this is going to happen. How? I don't know how. No thinking, and it happens. That's called intuitive knowledge. It does not come from the mind, because mind has to find everything by thinking. When you think and find out, that's mental. When something comes to you, a knowledge that comes without thinking, which we call intuition, that's soul. Soul has intuition. Soul has love. Mind by thinking cannot create love. In fact, very often it destroys it by not being sure about it. Very often true knowledge, intuition is destroyed by mind by thinking, may not be true. So thinking is not always helpful in intuitive knowledge or in love. But love, intuition, beauty, the appreciation of beauty and joy, the blissful state is all belonging to the soul. And thinking, rationalizing, working in time to think, that's all mind. Two different functions altogether. And all are taking place in our life right now. Supposing from tomorrow you want to convert your life into a spiritual life, from a mental life, you will then reverse the order of things like you are doing now. You will decide things intuitively. Gut feeling will say, do this. Then you tell the mind, do it. Mind will say, how can you be sure? It will argue. No, do it. Your life will be okay. Now what we do is, we ask the mind, what should we do? Mind thinks, you can do this, that. We are not sure. Okay, we are in confusion. Okay, do this. And then tomorrow we say, wish we had done the other thing. The mind just confused us. Because the mind does not have enough data to make a decision. It only has a limited data in front of it. Intuition does not come from any data in front of you. Intuition comes from the wisdom of collected experience which is hidden in your mind for several lifetimes. Intuition pulls from there. So intuitive knowledge is far more reliable. Mind won't let you believe it, but you try it out. The mind wants to think that mentally you can do everything. I remember once a group of barristers and some professors from United Kingdom, England, came to see my master, this Baba Sawan Singh. And they said, Master, you tell us that the mind cannot find the truth, that the mind is limited. We are all educated people. We work with our minds. We have trained our minds to do great jobs. And we believe, all of us believe, that the mind can find anything it wants. The thinking mind has full capacity to find anything. Where is the limitation of the mind that you're talking about? And great master said, there are some things the mind cannot comprehend. He said, do you believe in God? He asked those people. They were Christians believing in God. All of them. Yes, we believe in God. Do you believe that God is one? Yes, we do believe God is one. Do you believe each one of you has God inside you? Because the Bible says that the living God is inside you. That the kingdom of God is inside you and the living God is within the human body. Do you think that living God is inside you? Yes, we do believe that. Do you think that God had divided himself into 8 parts to be in all 8 of you? No, God never divides himself. Then how have each one of you got a complete God in you? If you have a mental answer to that, I'll be very happy to hear from you. So they had no answer to that. The belief system was clashing. Their belief in their own religion clashed with what the mind could answer. The mind could not explain how there was one God and each one of them had a full God in them and there were 8 of them. But spirituality can explain because all 8 of them were part of one God. And God hadn't to be inside them, they were inside God, losing that awareness, and therefore they thought they were separate. God had to be found inside. Spiritual answer was correct, mental answer was not. So therefore, the idea that mind can give all these answers is not correct. But if we are able to practice the meditation, which is common for all. I have meditation workshops, people from all religions attend. People from all followers of different gurus attend, who fight outside with each other, but they sit together. One man told me in California, you performed a miracle today. I said, which miracle was it? I didn't see it. No, these people when they were sitting, they follow different gurus. When they're outside, they fight. Our guru only is right. Here they're sitting like loving brothers with each other. That's a miracle. I said, no miracle. Mind divides us. Mind divides us again and again. I gave you the story of that man, how he divided just because of a denomination in Christianity. But the truth is the same for all. Even atheists sit there. Atheists practice the same meditation that God-loving people practice. So therefore, it's not something confined to any group or religion. It is open to all. And if you get a chance to practice that, if I get a chance to sometimes sit with you and meditate with you, I'll be very happy to do it, to demonstrate to you. Today, I know that we have a limited program, but if you like, we can do some meditation together. How many of you would like to meditate with me today? Oh, I'm very happy. Shall we do it now? Yes. If you are ready. Okay. I'll give you the steps to do it. First, sit upright, whether you are on the floor or on the chairs, so that your spinal cord is straight, so that your house is not a bent house. That's why. How many of you enjoyed this session? I'm very happy. How many of you could do it? Very good. This is a opening session just to give you an idea where to be there and what to do. Mind runs outside and we try to control it by repeating words we call mantra or simran. We try to hold our attention there by thinking of nothing else but that. And then if you want, we can stay there long enough to make that our real place. And we become unaware where the body is because our body is there. When I said stand up, you had no tendency to stand up with this body, you only stood up there. You can also go out from a window on the side and fly out from there into a new sky. All this is very easy to do. All these first exercises of the inner body, which is the body of the sense perceptions, is easy. But once you go beyond that, it becomes require deeper meditation. So this is just a beginning that I thought you might like to enjoy. The other thing is that when we do meditation, it is with the mind. All these instructions I gave to you was with my mind. You are receiving with your mind. You are putting your attention with your mind. These are all mental exercises. And they remain mental up to the point where you find the nature of the mind. You can become unaware of senses and body, is still mental. After the mind, you cannot cross with the mind at all. So none of these exercises help. And the only thing that helps is the power of the unconditional love of a perfect living master pulling you from the other side and pulling you through the mind. Therefore, love and devotion is the ultimate spiritual exercise. If you don't have a feeling of love and devotion, you are doing it mechanically, nothing will come. If you have love and devotion, and that is the role, a guru plays an important role for becoming a beloved of yours, a lover of yours, inside. And that's so important because to go above the mind to your true home, to the true Atma, you can only be pulled by love and devotion, which is the nature of the soul, nature of consciousness itself, to pull you up. And these other things will only take you halfway. So, but it's good, we have to be halfway in order to reach that threshold. It will be pulled, but you can start practicing right from day one. All meditation to be successful should be done with love and devotion. So I hope that you will get chance to practice these things. Then there is a process called initiation by perfect living master. It's a common thing, people call it Namdan, giving true name, giving Diksha, getting instruction from a master, being accepted by a master, accepted by a guru. These are all different terms for the same thing. What actually happens is that when a perfect living master, now I must tell you that I'm talking of different gurus, that there are gurus who are perfect and gurus who are taking you part of the way. Many gurus can open you to the inner sky and can make you fly in the inner sky. Many gurus can take you to the universal mind from where everything is being created, and they'll call it your true home. It is the true home of your mind, but not of your soul. To go to your true home of your soul, you have to find somebody who's pulling you from beyond the mind. That's the perfect living master. A perfect living master, when he comes in our life, he comes to take us back to the true home. When he says, I accept you, that means I initiate you. That is, that I have now placed myself in you as being one. That if you meditate inside and reach this first stage, I'll be there waiting for you. He manifests himself within the consciousness and the head of the disciple. So when the disciple pulls the attention inside, he can see him, he can talk to him. Eventually he can see him outside and talk to him also, becomes part of him. That is true initiation by a perfect living master. In the process, he also teaches us how to meditate, which of course anybody can teach. But he does teach because our mind wants to be taught. Most of the teaching by these masters is done for our mind. Mind feels unless we teach, unless we learn, unless we put our effort and struggle, nothing can happen. But when it comes to crossing the mind, no effort works. It's totally effortless. Effortless means love pulls us. Have you ever seen that when you fall in love with somebody here, did you make an effort? Nobody has experience of true love by making an effort. Love pulls us. We don't push into love. Love pulls us. If we try to push, we can break it. But we pull, it comes. The unconditional love of a perfect living master is unique because there is no judgment in it. If you happen to get the experience of being with a perfect living master, you will notice that he loves you irrespective of who you are, how you are, what you are doing, what you are not doing. He never has any judgment. If you think I am good or bad, he is not judging that. He doesn't say, I'll accept you if you're a good person, and I will not accept you for a bad person. He does not come for good or bad, he comes for the seeking of our soul. If the soul says, I am fed up with this, all this good and bad here, he comes and takes us back home. Therefore, he has no judgment at all on any moral grounds that whether we are good or bad to select a person for initiation. The selection is based entirely on the seeking we have to go back to our true home. And he's got compassion for us. He knows that the karma is a prison. He knows we are bound in that. He knows we are being forced to do things by our mind which our soul never wants to do. We know we have many times made resolutions, never again, and then we do it again. That we are in that trap. And knowing this, he is no judge. He does not judge us. His love is unconditional. He loves us if we love him. He loves us if we don't love him. He loves us if we hate him. He loves us if we kill him. That's the kind of love of a perfect living master. His love is unconditional, continuous, and when he accepts us by initiation, he is a friend forever. There is no limit. There are no conditions to that friendship and no limit to that friendship. It lasts till we reach our true home. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many lifetimes it takes, he remains our friend. So the nature of relationship with a perfect living master is totally different from any other relationship we have had. And that is why it will be the greatest fortune if any one of you gets a chance to have the pleasure of acquaintance with a perfect living master or seeing him. Even seeing him once makes a big difference. They say it's called a darshan. Darshan of a perfect living master changes your life for that moment because you get destined. If you have darshan of a perfect living master, who are of course very few, very rare in this world. Gurus are many. My master used to say, nowadays there are more gurus in this world than chelas. There are more teachers than the disciples left. So this has become a big trade and it's become a big business. And so these people are not businessmen. They don't charge for their services. They always give, they don't take. They have not come to take. And that is why all the service of all these masters is free of charge, always. And they always want to give whatever they can. And they are not beggars. If they have begged anything, they begged from their God and got it, what they wanted to get. So they're very different. So if you get that chance, you will have a very unique experience. And one darshan is good enough to guarantee you will be a seeker. And if they look at you, that's called drishti, even better than darshan. Darshan means you look at a master and get some benefit. Drishti is if the master looks at you and then you get that experience, it's even faster to get higher into your consciousness. These are experience things that so many people have experienced. In my own life, I've seen people just having a look once at a master, having their life changed. And spending a little time with them has also altered their life. Initiation, of course, completely changes their life. I've seen that over and over again. My father was also a follower of the same master. When he discovered that darshan can do this much, he would say, the only thing I want to do is to take my friends just to have a look, whether they believe or not. He knew that once they've had a look at the great master, things will change. And they always changed. So he said, the best gift I can give to my friends is to take them there. But then that led to an interesting story with which I'll wind up this today's morning session about a doctor, a veterinary doctor named Dr. Ishwar Singh. He was a wonderful disciple of the same master, same guru, and a good colleague of mine. I spent many, many days and years and companionship with him, and we met in our house many times. I met him elsewhere also. He was a veterinary doctor in a state called Kapurthala. In Kapurthala state in Punjab, there used to be princely rule in those days. There was a Maharaja there. And so the doctor was attending to the horses and other animals of the Maharaja. So he was a keen seeker. And he asked some people if they knew anybody. People would introduce him to many yogis, many sadhus, many other enlightened people who would come into town. But his neighbors were 3 Muslims. They told him that there is a man with a white beard. This man with white beard, he lives in a small hut on the river Byas, which was about 10-15 miles away from his house. And if you go there, you'll be able to get true enlightenment. And we have got enlightenment from them. He doesn't care for our religion. And although he belongs to a different Sikh religion, everybody comes there of all different religions and get enlightened there. So you go there and find out. So one evening, after he finished his job, in the evening he took his bicycle and he rode along the river. And he was told that the hut where the master lives, the guru lives, is about 3 miles down. He rode 3 miles, 4 miles, 8 miles, no hut and no guru. Then it got very dark and he saw a boatman. There was a ferry that used to cross people to a village, solitary village on the other side. So he asked the ferryman, I have come all these 8 miles, I don't see any guru and I don't see any hut. He said, that is on the other side of the river. You come to the wrong side. He said, will you take me in the ferry at night to the other side? He said, you can't go up on the other side, you have to go back. He said, no, you just take me to the other side, I will reach that hut by myself. He said, there is no road, there is no pathway, only forest and jungle and all bushes are there. He said, it doesn't matter. So he allowed him to cross the river. He carried his bicycle on his head because there was no place he would put the bicycle to make it move. And through jungle, he got all his clothes torn with the thorns. Ultimately, early morning, he reached the hut and he knocked on the door and an elderly woman came out and began to abuse him, shout at him. How dare you come and disturb the guru at this time? Have you no sense? And then she used some bad words also. And he was shocked because he had heard there's a woman who had lived with 3 gurus, starting with one Swamiji of Agra, then with one Baba Jamal Singh, and now with this present Guru Sawan Singh, Baba Sawan Singh. He said this woman has spent her whole life with 3 gurus and look at the anger she has. If this is what she has got from the 3 gurus, what am I going to get here? He was very disappointed. He came back to Kapurthala. In the morning he told those people, his neighbors, you are totally mistaken. That man you are talking guru is no guru. That woman who lived for so many years with these gurus, look what has happened to her. She is as angry and mad. You use such foul language. You think that is what I am going to get from there? And they laughed at him. They said, Guru played a trick with you. He says, what do you mean trick? I never saw him. He said, that's the trick. Did you go to see the guru or did you go to see the woman? He said, I went to see the guru. Did you see him? No. Then he played a trick. He put the woman in front of you. Next time you will go, the woman will be the kindest woman you ever met. It is under Guru's direction she tested you out. Whoever will come to see, the Guru or the woman. You failed. He said, now I will try. Now I also know where the hut is. I will go in the evening and I know where the land is. And I know the chief who owns the land around that hut is a friend of mine. I treat his horses. So he called the chief. And he said, Chief, let's go to your land and we'll ride on your land and we'll also see this Guru in the hut. He said, what Guru are you talking of? The one who lives in that hut. He said, I will not go there. He says, why not? The chief said, I hear whoever goes there never comes back. I'm not going to take that risk. He said, no, but it's your land. You can go on your land. We need not go to the Guru. Let's stand from a distance. He comes, he's a working man. He's an engineer, subdivisional engineer in a roadway somewhere. He comes only on weekends. 5 o'clock in the evening, he gives a discourse on Saturday. We'll just go at that time and look at him from a distance. Then the chief agreed. The Sardar said, all right, we'll go. And they assembled in the evening and went together. And the Guru, the great master, I call him great master, he was giving his discourse. And there were 20 people who were sitting in front of him. And he had a book in his hand. And he was reading from the book and then explaining what the book was saying. So these two people stood at a distance. So he put the book down and looked at them and waved to them, come. And he said to the chief, he's calling you, he knows you are the owner of this land. No, he's not calling me, he's calling you. So they couldn't decide who he was calling. They said, let's separate like this and then see who is calling. So chief went on one side and the doctor went on the other side. And the master looked at both. And he looked at the doctor, Ishwar Singh, called him. So he went forward and he sat down at the back. Master picked up the book. Then he saw the man was sitting at the back, put the book down, and he said, come and sit in front. Sit right in front. So he got up from there and sat right in front of the master. Master picked up the book, read a few lines from there, then interpreted. And the doctor was surprised because he gave all the answers he was waiting for. He said, what book is he holding? That has all the answers. When the discourse was over, he got up, he said, Master, I want to borrow that book that you are having. He said, no, I use it all the time. He said, can you just give it to me for 1 week? Next week you come, I'll give it back to you. He said, no, I read it many times during the week. He said, can you give me for tonight? Can you give me the book I'll read tonight? And tomorrow morning I'll give it to you. And I have 75 rupees in my pocket, I'll deposit that with you. He said, no, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. The master said, I need the book. He said, what kind of man are you holding on to that book, not able to share with me? Can you give me for 1 hour? He said, I don't know, I might need it after the next half hour. He never gave him the book. Now this Ishwar Singh told me later on, had he given me the book, I would have run away and never come back. Because I thought the whole thing is in the book that he was reading all the answers from. Next day, of course, he found out from the friends that the book is easily available for 2 rupees from any bookstore. Just called the Sar Bachan. It was just an ordinary book. Anybody could buy it. But the master again played a big trick on him. They were holding on to the book, just showing him there's something more than the book that one needs. So he got a little angry and went away. The master's throat tied up in the book. The people laughed and said, book is available. I will give you any number of copies. Then he decided, now I must go. And this initiation is important. I must go and get it. This is a clever master. He plays games. Let me also now try. So he went again one evening. And master was sitting outside his hut, little chair. And Dr. Ishwar Singh goes and says, Master, I have discovered you are the real person I was looking for. You have that knowledge. I want initiation from you. And great master said, have you broken your right arm? He said, is that a requirement for initiation? He said, no, it's not a requirement. It just so happens that your right time to get initiated comes after you've broken your arm healed it, then you will get initiation. It's just a question of timing. He said, Master, why will I break my arm? He said, no, you won't deliberately break it. Sometimes one can fall from a horse and break one's arm. It happens all the time. These accidents happen. He said, Master, I have been riding horses all these years and I don't fall from horses. He says, well, it's all right. I can only tell you, when you break your arm, when you are healed, come back, promise I will initiate you. He said, okay, he went back. When he reached his home, his wife, whose name was Maya, he said, where have you been? All day the Maharaja has been calling you from the palace. Every day sent several messages. There must be something very serious. So he ran to the palace. And the Maharaja said, where have you been all day? He said, I went to see one Maharaji. He said, no Maharaji, I am the only Maharaja. He was calling the masters Maharaji. So he said, any animal was sick or something, you were calling me? No, good news. Maharaja said, only this morning we have got 2 new horses from Arabia, Arabian steeds. The best horses I have. And I have been waiting. I said, when my doctor comes, my veterinary doctor comes, I will launch these horses. You will ride on one horse, I will ride on the other. And Ishwar Singh said, I will not ride that horse. He said, you have been riding horses every day, what's happened? The Guru told me I might break my arm. I said, how are you such a superstitious person? Anybody tells you like this and you are afraid of a horse? Come on. Okay, the Maharaja said, at least keep my face. We'll both get onto the horse and I will ride off and you can get down and go home. At least keep my face, all the courtiers, everybody's been waiting since morning. Say, all right, I'll do that. So the Maharaja got onto one horse and Ishwar Singh stepped his foot and as he sat on the saddle, the horse bolted on. New horse did not know there was a small stone and it hit the stone, fell on the side, Ishwar Singh down, right arm, multiple fracture. Same night. He said, Guru, you were right. That I had to break my arm and I was trying to contest this, that how will I break my arm. Anyway, it got healed, but it was such a bad injury. There was calcification in the shoulder, calcification in the elbow, and he couldn't really move. After 6 weeks or 10 weeks, they removed the plaster. It was very bad. And he went back, Master, I broke my arm. I'll give me initiation. He said, raise your right hand to your ear. He said, Master, I can't do that. Sorry, I can't initiate you then. How come, Master, every time you put a new condition? He said, not a new condition. I told you right in the beginning, after you break your arm and heal it, then come to me. It is not healed. He said, Master, how can it be healed? It is like stone now. It has got calcification. It has become so rigid. I have to live with it like this. He says, when your horses break their legs, how do you treat them? Either shoot them or you treat them. I treat them. How do you treat them? He says, I put very strong acids to dissolve that calcification. And it's so painful. The horse hits the ground and digs a hole. It's so painful for the horse. And Master says, why don't you try it? He said, Master, I will die. I will die if I try that treatment. No, you can dilute the acid in turpentine oil, use a lower ratio, and you will be able to dilute it further and try. So Ishwar Singh tried, and ultimately he was able to move his arm, and he came back and he got initiated. And he made very rapid progress because he knew he had paid a price for something. He valued that initiation because it was just a game, he knew eventually. And he was such a wonderful disciple. He decided that the best thing I can do, like my father, he said, best thing I can do for my friends is to take them so Master can just look at them once. I'll be happy. I don't care whether they believe him or not. He took many friends, but his own father was a very fundamentalist Sikh who believed that there can be no human being as a guru after the 10th guru left and said the book is the Granth is the guru now. So he wouldn't believe. He tried his best. He said, Bapu, he called his father Bapu. He said, Bapu, please just come and see the man. I'm not saying follow him. Just come and see. He said, I will never see him. no matter how hard you try. He tried many tricks, many times of arguments. The father did not go. He said, the best thing I can do for my father as a dutiful son is to just take him to the master once, and I'll be happy. Ultimately, he couldn't do anything. One day, the master was traveling by train, and he found out that he'll be on the platform about 10 minutes before the train comes. So he told the master, will it be all right if I bring my father secretly and without telling the real reason to the station? And then will you give him darshan? He said, yes, yes, bring him, I'll give him darshan. So he told his dad, Bapu, I'm going to the railway station, and there is some work I have with the station superintendent. Would you like to come along? He said, okay, we'll go together. So they both rode on their horses, went to the station, and Ishwar Singh said, Dad, Bapu, will you hold my horse also? I'll just go meet the man and I'll come back. He said, all right. So he held the horses, and he ran down on the platform in that Beas station. You have to go down to the platform. He ran down to the platform, and master was standing there waiting for the train. He said, Master, I brought my dad. Come and give him darshan. Master said, yes. They both ran. Look at this spectacle. The guru with his wife, they are running with this man up on the slope. But by the time they reached on the top, the father suspected something is going wrong. He had left. He left Ishwar Singh's horse and he went away. So master said, sorry, he didn't come. I promise you, Ishwar Singh, you bring your dad to me, I will initiate him. That's my job. Your job is to bring him to me, my job is to initiate him, and I will. With so much assurance from master. He said, I don't know how the master gave that assurance. He doesn't know my dad. He doesn't know his belief systems. So he tried his best. One day, early morning when dad was sleeping, Ishwar Singh brought a long big rope and tied him up on the bed, on the charpai itself. And the father said, what are you doing to me? He said, Dad, I'm taking you to my guru. Is this the way you take to a guru? You think by tying me up you'll take him? He said, I have arranged a cart, a tonga outside, and it is waiting. And he picked up the bed with the father and took it and put it on the horse cart, the tonga outside, and tied him up there also on the cart. He said, you can cry, you can do what you like. I have to take you to my guru. He says, bring your father, that's your job. Initiation is my job. He said, how can you think that I can follow that man if you're tying me up? He was screaming. All the neighbors came out. They said, Ishwar Singh, what's happened? He says, my father's got mentally sick and I'm taking him to hospital. And he said, I am not mad, my son is mad. And all of them said, take it quickly. So the cart is going, father is screaming, and they reach, and great master is sitting there on a chair, and he sees a horse cart coming, and Ishwar Singh on a horse next door, and the man is screaming, tied up with a rope, and he gets up, stands up. He said, what is happening? They come and Ishwar Singh says, Master, I brought my father, I done my job. He said, is this the way you do it? Are you mad? And the father said, that's what I have been telling him. He is mad. And the great master said, untie the man, look at how much injury he has caused him. Look how the rope has affected him. Go and apply some balm for his injuries. So some of the attendants took the father and took him inside. And Ishwar Singh said, this dad is a very tough nut to crack. I don't know what he can do with him. The great master comes out and puts his finger on his mouth and says, quietly, now you go away, come after 3 days. Ishwar Singh leaves. Saying 3 days, my dad won't agree to initiation for 3 lifetimes. Why say 3 days? Anyway, 3 days later, he comes and he sees great master sitting on his chair and his father standing in front of him like this. He rubs his eyes, is that my dad? And then he comes near, and by chance, the horse that he was on dirties that place at that moment. The father looks at the son and the horse. He takes his shirt off to clean the ground where the horse was dirtying the place. He says, you mad fellow, You never knew any sense in the front of such a great master, you are dirtying the place. He said, is that you, Bapu? He said, you don't know. You never told me about him. He is a perfect living master, the one described in the Granth Sahib. He is the one living guru. And they all say that you need a living guru. I found a living guru. You mad fellow never knew about him. And only, I'm so lucky, only this morning I got initiation from him. That's the story of that doctor and his father, which when I tell the story, I tell people it's not replicable now, can't be repeated nowadays. Those days were very different. And you could tie up people and take them. None. So, but the story is that we do not know when our entire life changes, then we come across the perfect living master. The impact is on our soul. It's not an external, superficial thing. And that is why when a darshan is given by a perfect living master, that is, you look at the master, it changes your destiny. Of course, a change written in your true home already. And when he gives you drishti, you're bound to get initiated. If you get initiated by a perfect living master, and you follow his instructions, you will not be reborn again, because your account with any negative powers, any angels of death, all this is cancelled right from the moment of initiation. You are only accountable to the master and to nobody else. If you have to come again because you could not complete your course of meditation or anything that is laid out for you, you can come again. Control will be of the master, who will be with you, not of any other negative entity or any other power at all. And when a master gives you initiation and gives you his own mantra, any words he gives you, he empowers them, so no negativity can come near you. So it's a very great event that takes place when you get initiation from a perfect living master. So I am very happy to share all these things, all these stories with you, all these experiences, because it's a practical thing. It's not theoretical, it's not theory, it's not a philosophy. It is something that those who are seeking can know now, that the seeking is what will give them the chance to go back to their true home. Thank you very much for very patiently listening to me. I am once again grateful to the organizers. I know that Dilip and Ravi have been working hard, and so they have made these arrangements. I know many friends could not come. I am very happy that so many of you could come in spite of a band or a strike going on in Bangalore. So, but those who could not come, if they arrive later, I'll see them. Otherwise, on a subsequent visit to Bangalore, I'll definitely see those who could not come today. Thank you very much.